What's up, guys? Frank Pesce here. I want to thank you for joining me right now. Right now is a very special and important moment for me. I'm sitting here with friends, I'm sitting here with family, I'm sitting here with people who have had an impact on my life, and I actually carry around a piece of these guys with me wherever I go. The reason is because everybody has a unique story. Everybody has something special about them, something that they've done or been through, or a skill or an understanding about something that they can add value to you with. The gentlemen that are sitting at this table represent people of value to me. Today I want to highlight my very, very good and dear friend, Paulie. We'll just say Paulie, okay? That's his name for right now, Paul, okay? Now Paul, I know Paul a few years, and it took a while before Paul and I could cozy up to each other as tight as we are right now, so that we can start to talk as frankly as we're going to talk to you today. But once we did, we knew that there was a bond that existed between the two of us that was like predestined, meant to be. It was one of those life relationships that you just kind of thank God for, and you say that this is special to me. In fact, our relationship is at the point now where I can speak to him on the phone and I can feel his emotion. I can feel what he feels for me. His very sense of being is born inside of me, and likewise, he can feel how I feel. So it's my great honor to introduce you guys to my great friend Paul, and then you'll have an opportunity to meet Sammy, and Paulie Jr. right here as well. So, but tonight, the focus is on Paul. Paul, tell these guys what relationship means to you, man.
Relationship is very big to me. I'm of the Italian heritage. Relationship is important. Honesty, solidarity. You just gotta have it all. You gotta have the whole package. And I found that in Frank when I had first met him. I think I have the ability to tell you what a person is all about within the first 5 minutes of me meeting them. And that's what happened with Frank and myself. I knew that there was a bond there as soon as we made contact with one another. I felt like I'd known the man for 30 years, and I've only known him for 10 minutes. It was an amazing introduction to Frank Pesce and myself. Having the relationship that we have today is just incredible. I can call him at any time. I know he's there for me. We're separated by distance right now because he's in another state, but he knows that if he has to come to New York on a whim, he just has to call me in 1 second, and my open doors are to him 10,000%. It's just an incredible relationship. I feel that relationship is the most important thing in this world of today, which is what this world is lacking. This world is lacking relationship amongst families, on the inner circle of families. It's lacking in politics, as we see today, with our own president and with the Democrats, and it's just lacking. We have to get back to basics. That's basically what it is. We got to get back to the basics. We got to get back to the basics of just being who we are and respecting people. Respect is also a big word. I think it goes hand in hand with the word of relationship. The word respect goes, I can't even describe it. With that one word alone, if you have that for yourself and you have that for other people, you've conquered the world. You've conquered the world, because that's all you need. And that's where Frank and I stand today.
Paul has an amazing life story. The things that he has been through have been extreme. I, as an entrepreneur, as a family man, as a father, have a duty to impart, lead, teach, direct, grow any way I can. And the way that I do that, we all do that, is by learning from each other and applying what we've learned and putting that out. When Paulie and I met, little did I know, he was observing me from a distance. He was watching the way I walk, how I use my cell phone, what I was about. When he finally approached me, he came to me, he already had an idea to a great extent of who I was. And when he came almost as if, like the movie Dances with Wolves, with an offering. And when he met me, the first thing that he did was bring wisdom my way, look to add value to me. The reason he was able to add value is because of the things that he's been through. Paulie has an amazing story, and if you're willing, I'd like you to tell our friends a little bit about your story and just how respect comes in that story and how important respect is in that story.
Sure.
Speak loud.
I was a correction officer at one time, and actually for 13 years, and I got into a little trouble. I had to face that trouble through a trial, through a state trial. My state trial, I blew. I got convicted of a certain case. It was an assault case. I blew that state trial, so I had gotten terminated from being a correction officer. I didn't have nowhere to run. That was the only thing I knew how to do since the age of 21 years old. So I was panicking. I had a family of 4, my wife, my 2 children, my son and my daughter, and how was I going to provide for them? With the piano just falling on my head and having no job and having no career and not having really any basic skills on what to do other than corrections. So I drove a cab for a while to provide food for my family and shelter, which just wasn't cutting it. And I had a friend in the construction industry who got me into the Operating Engineers Union, not knowing anything about machines. Didn't even know where the ignition was on one of the machines because I knew corrections only. So I had to attend a school for 8 months. I attended the school, free of salary, driving a cab at night to support my family, learn the equipment, and finally got out of there after 8 months of being in the School of Operating Engineers. The federal government picked up my case again, which was not double jeopardy in their eyes, but it was to me on a civil end, and I had to face another trial with the federal government. I was an operating engineer. I was making decent money, trying to get back on my feet, and the piano fell on my head again. I had to go to a federal government trial, my choice, blew that trial, and was facing a minimum of 10 years in a federal penitentiary. The judge that had my trial during that federal case overturned that case through my attorneys putting in certain venues to the judge to overturn that case because of the evidence that they presented during that federal trial outweighed the jury's verdict. And the judge overturned that case as if it never even happened, which in turn had the AUSA appeal it, which was her right to do. Didn't cost her anything, cost me more money to go out and get an appellate professional. But she appealed it and went in front of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. They reinstated the conviction. After this judge, who was on the bench for so many years, got inducted by President Nixon, had passed away, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals reenacted the conviction, and I was facing 5 years in federal penitentiary. I was sent to California to do my 5 years, 4,000 miles away from my family. Didn't see my family for 4.5 years. So Respect in Life, while I was doing my time, when I had first gotten into the federal penitentiary, I met this person by the name of Sergio, who was a highly respected cartel member of the Mexican descent. And when I had first met him, I entered a room that he was in, that he was bunking in, and there was 12 guys in the room, and he was there in the first bunk, on the bottom bunk. I entered the room. As soon as I entered the room, we made eye contact, and he immediately got up from his bunk in a relaxed position with no socks on, reading a book. And being on the other side of the fence, I said to myself at that point, oh my God, here we go. I'm gonna have to defend myself because he's getting up from his bed. I don't know this person. I don't know this person from Adam. He got up from his bunk, went underneath his bed to his plastic container where he had all of his cosmetics, his candy bars and everything, and concocted a bag for me of toiletries, of soap, toothpaste, a rag, facial rag, and approached me with it and said, here my man, this is for you. And I immediately felt respected, wanted, and that feeling that I had at that point for this person was overwhelming. It's like when I first met Frank. It was just so comforting, and I hugged him, I embraced him. We exchanged names, and we became good friends there from then on in for the next 4.5 years that I knew him. And that's where the word respect comes in, because in that type of situation, being inside a correctional setting, a person's natural instinct and reaction is to survive and to do whatever it takes to survive inside. But at that point, the survival mode was a mode of togetherness, which made that negative situation into a positive situation for me much more comfortable. And that's where the word respect and relationship comes in. That's where it's important, because he was of Mexican descent and I was of Italian descent, and we just bonded immediately right off the bat without even knowing one another. It's just a beautiful thing. Frank can't stress it enough.
100%. So Paul is talking about an extremely difficult situation where he's faced with discouragement, where he could be faced with the prospect of depression, where he could feel like giving up. This guy was put in extreme circumstances, and actually what he left out was that after his trial, he was, without him even knowing, sent 4,000 miles away from his family so that he would be separated from his family and not able to see them for 4 years. His oldest son, being 13 years old at the time, married, family of 4, a daughter that was soon to graduate high school, and yet here he is on the other side of the country with no access to them, not even able to call them and tell him where he is. He was faced with a challenge, and he said to himself, I have to control my mindset. I have to reframe my mind because this is my situation. Now I will say, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I'm constantly dealing with stress, constantly dealing with situations where, I have a decision to make. Either I'm going to give in to discouragement or I'm going to rise above that. You put the things that I can't deal with to the side, put the things I can deal with right in front of me, and execute in a checklist manner. Now, Paul, coming from something so extreme as I just described, would you please tell the audience how you dealt with stress and how you kept your mind about you with all those factors at play that a lot of people hang themselves in such situations even?
That's very true, Frank. A lot of people can't handle stress. You have to go by the saying, only the strong survive. And it's very true. You have to make yourself like that male lion in the jungles of Africa that wants to protect his domain and not give in to the gang of lions that are going to come down and take his area and his women away from him. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to be strong. Everybody's faced with a dilemma in their life. Everybody. It's how you deal with it that's important. You have to remain strong. You have to remain focused. In my situation, it was a game of survival. You're in a prison. You're 4,000 miles away from your family. You have nobody but yourself. But you have that quality of who you are and who you could be towards other people, and make those people become part of you and become your friends and become your family for whatever time that you have to do with them. And that's basically how it was. You can't worry about the outside while you're inside. That's a given. You have no control of it. It's an added on stress, because certain things happen on the outside that you're aware of that you have no control of. Talking about deaths in the family, talking about deaths of friends, talking about illnesses, talking about how you're going to meet your mortgage, divorce, if you're going to have a place to go when you come home. All of that comes into factor and comes into play while you're dealing with that stress. It's how you overcome that. You can't worry about the outside. You have no control of it. You have no control whatsoever. You have to deal with what you have in front of you, get through the time, and also have your religious backing too. Religion is a very big part of it. Religion is a very big part of how you get through life. No matter what your religion is, you have to have that basis, and you have to have that strength, and you have to have that belief, and that gets you through any type of dilemma. Of course, I could have hung up. Of course, I could have given up. That's not me. That's not me. To me, that's a coward. Okay, you have to face your troubles, face the music, and get through it, and it makes you a stronger person at the end. That you've accomplished that. Just makes you a better person overall. And like Frank is an entrepreneur, and he comes through certain stresses, and it happens to people. He has a family of his own he has to deal with. He has to make sure his kids are good, and his wife is good, and things on his job are good. And that just goes with the natural things of life. A lot of people can't handle that. They resort to medication, they resort to narcotics, they resort to suicide. You can't play that. You can't play that part. You have to be a strong person. You have to be the person that your Creator made you to be. And that's that strong, divine person, the divineness that you have inside you. Everybody has a divine nature to portray here on earth. Everybody has a divine nature, and you have to bring that into play. It just tells the type of person that you are. And the beauty of it is the people that are out there like Frank, like his brother-in-law Sam, like Tommy behind this camera right here. It's just the beauty of meeting people and meeting nice people and portraying who you are and giving that respect and getting that respect in return and just having a good time in life. That's what it's about.
It sounds like you move a lot on intuition, like knowing things deep inside. It's part of your instinct, part of your guiding principle. And you know what I know? Because I'm a religious person too. And one of the definitions for the word grace, right? That's like a Bible word, grace, is the divine influence upon the heart. That means you're animated by a divine influence that pours out of yourself. Now let me ask you a question. When you meet somebody, or you have an interaction with somebody, where is the divine influence that you're looking for? Where is that spark that brings you close to a person and you say in a moment of time, I can exchange value with this person, I can trust this person, I can take it to the next level? Because inevitably, just like you and I met, there was a spark that took place. It doesn't happen every day, and it doesn't happen everywhere.
You're right.
And when that happens, it's usually accompanied by excitement, by joy, by like a sense of peace. And then from there, you start to listen quietly to yourself and just let nature, let God take his course. You know what I mean? Develop relationships.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that?
I feel that that's very important. I feel that when you first meet somebody, the sincerity has to come to play. You have to be sincere to the person. Don't give up every value that you have to them, but there's a certain amount of sincerity that is called for in becoming friends with a person, or getting that feeling that you've known them for 30 years, where you only known them for 30 minutes. It's a type of sincerity that's unexplainable. It's just like when you meet your wife for the first time, and you had that love and you had that connection and you had that feeling for her. It's the same thing in a friendship. You just have to have those qualities there, and you'll know it. You'll know it. You'll feel it. There would be no question about it. And then you just flow from there. And like Frank said, the religious aspect comes into play. Just let God handle it. Just let your Creator let the flow happen, and it's beautiful. It's a sign of peace.
Right. How do you know when somebody can't be trusted? I'm talking about externally. If you're watching this room right now, let's say it's a day room, let's say this is the yard, you're watching somebody behave in a certain way. How do you know from a distance somebody cannot be trusted?
It depends what the situation is, though, Frank. I mean, you have to weigh out every situation. Every situation is different. Let's say, for instance, a guy in the yard sees one of his buddies getting jumped and doesn't do anything to save his buddy's life because he's scared, he doesn't have the nerve to do so, or whatever. That would be a certain situation where I would say, how can I trust this person to hang around me? I mean, not to get into religions or anything like that, but I'm a Catholic. I believe in Jesus, and Jesus had 12 disciples, and he had a traitor amongst one of them, and it happened to be Judas. And he knew that was going to come from him because he was divine himself. He knew what Judas was going to do. He was going to be a traitor. He was going to go against Jesus. Did Jesus like it? Probably not, because he had the human nature of being a person, but he was divine inside, and he let it happen. But Judas wound up hanging himself because he couldn't deal with that guilt. He couldn't deal with that guilt that he had betrayed his friend. That's where a certain situation brings light to you that you can't really trust anyone, that particular person. Every situation is different, though. You'd have to weigh it out. You know, you would have to weigh it out and really come to your conclusion without stereotyping anything. Sure. But just have that solid conclusion that this is the way I want it, and that's that, you know.
Which actually brings out a very solid truth. If you're untrustworthy, if you're somebody that is like inside not clean, you're going to carry around guilt with you. Absolutely. You're going to carry around shame. You're going to carry around a heaviness. And you might not feel it just in that moment, or it might just be like a moment in passing time, but eventually it will catch up to you.
And it definitely shows through your personal features, through your eyes, through you sweating profusely, you know, like a prostitute in confession. Oh, it's like, you know, oh my God, I'm nervous, you know. Oh. But no, it definitely shows, and you can definitely see it in a person. Good point.
Which means if you live right, make the right decisions, and, you know, avoid the temptation to like be somebody that's not trustworthy.
That's
because in the end it pays off, you know, to be honorable, to have integrity, and to do what's right.
Absolutely.
So Paul, why don't you tell these people right now the best advice that you would offer them? Looking from a place where they come to you and say, Paul, we value you, we value your judgment. Tell us what we can hear from you today. Give us your best life advice for me right now. Tomorrow may change, but what do you got for me today?
Just be who you are. Know your endeavors. Pursue them to the fullest of your ability. Be confident about yourself, because that makes everybody around you strong. Makes your family strong, makes your friends strong, and you feel strong about yourself. You portray to people an air of either positive or negative ways, and you just have to be who you are and be positive all the time. Don't bring any negativity into your life, because negative actions bring negative results. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Always keep yourself busy, your mind busy, your hands busy. Have that time for meditation or whatever floats your boat. You want to do a martial art. You want to meditate. You just want to look at the ocean and hear those waves crack the rocks, and that's your relaxing time. Do that too. Do that too. But just basically be who you are and be strong. And remember, be that lion that is protecting his area, that is not going to let any gang come and take it away from him. Take his woman, take his area. Be strong, but be respectful. Strong in respect, you can conquer anything in this world today.
Love it. Paulie Jr., what was it like at 13 years old seeing your father go away after seemingly having been cleared of wrongdoing? And then, that piano coming down, as it were. You obviously had to be pretty strong through that time too.
It's very hard to be strong, but it's very hard to be strong to see your father in that situation. But I overcome it, and I hung in there. I was strong, and that's all I could say. I was strong until he got home, and I was happy when he appeared at home. And it was a happy moment in my lifetime.
Awesome. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you. That was a beautiful piece. Paulie, do you have any other closing statements you want to make, or a story you want to share?
I just want to say that I thank God every day that there's people like you around, Frank. And I'm the only child in my family. I consider you my brother. And I just thank to God every day that you do exist and we did meet. There's a reason for everything, I feel. And we do have a big age gap, but that doesn't mean anything to me. I love you, I respect you, I respect your values. I'm just happy to be a part of your life and to be a part of your friendship. You've taught me a lot, and you're still teaching me a lot of things. And that's the beauty of life, that you can learn from an infant something, or you can learn from
facts,
or you can learn from an elderly person, or an elderly person can learn from you. Just keep your door open to people. Don't say, oh well, he's younger than me and I know more than him and I've been around the block 10 times more. Very untrue. You can learn from anything and anybody at any given second. And I just am happy that God has given me the opportunity to meet you and to excel in our extending relationship of friendship that we have and brotherhood. And that's all I have to say.
Solo. How do I add to that? Thank you so much for joining me for this time. You'll see more of Paulie because he's very important in my life, and we'll look forward to putting out more great content for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you like, press the like button, subscribe, be part of what we're doing. Click that notification bell so you can stay up to date on the new content that we're putting out on a regular basis. Thanks again. Frank Pesce.